You're watching CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown.
Hello everyone, I'm Ross Palumbo. Here's a look at your top stories at this hour. Officials have now grounded the entire Boeing 737 MAX 9 fleet after that mid-air blowout on an Alaska Airlines flight. KCAL's Jasmine Veal is working that story for us.
I'm Jasmine Veal. I'm here inside the Ontario International Airport, right in front of the Alaska Airlines check-in desk. And this is where at least 2 flights are scheduled to arrive and depart later this afternoon, but not on the 737 MAX 9 model. All of those have been grounded after that door plug blew off on that flight Friday night from Portland here to Ontario. Well, the plane landed safely back at Portland International Airport with the 171 passengers and 6 crew members on board. But again, that entire 737 9 MAX fleet grounded this morning pending those inspections that are underway. More than 300 Alaska Airlines and United Airlines flights actually have been canceled on that model, as these 2 companies are the only U.S. passenger airlines that use the types of aircraft involved. We are also learning about what happened, more of those chaotic moments, as we have our first look today at that crippled flight. That 63-pound piece of the plane, again known as the plug door, just blew out at 16,000 feet about 10 minutes into the flight, leaving that gaping hole. That cell phone video that we've seen over the last few days has just been terrifying. It did so with such force, it ripped open the cockpit door that was fortified like 26 rows away. It ripped off a child's shirt. It sucked things out of the plane like the tray table. We know several cell phones. We're also learning that there were some maintenance issues and warnings prior to this flight. Unclear still if those had anything to do with that door plug being ripped off. But again, I'm here at the Ontario airport. I am just talking to passengers, trying to get a hold of more passengers who were on that terrifying flight, and again, learning more about the investigation that is now underway. Here in Ontario, Jasmine Veal, KCAL News. We'll see you later tonight.
All right, thanks a lot, Jasmine. Meanwhile, LA City Councilman Curran Price's arraignment is now underway. He's facing charges of embezzlement, perjury, and conflict of interest. He's accused of voting on projects tied to his wife's consulting business without reporting any connection. Curran denies any wrongdoing. Governor Gavin Newsom has now set a date for a special election to replace former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Newsom says the primary for the special election will be held on March 19th. With the special election taking place on May 21st. McCarthy announced his resignation, you remember, last month, and formally stepped down December 31st. He represents California's 20th congressional district, which includes parts of Kern, Tulare, King, and Fresno counties. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is visiting Eagle Pass, Texas today, a city that says it's been heavily affected by a surge of migrants. Here in Los Angeles, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has been sending busloads of migrants since June. Tomorrow at 11, and only on KCAL News, a woman's story of how she's turning that situation around.
They came here, how they're giving back.
Like you are.
Yes.
The dramatic story behind these migrant buses that you have not heard yet, turning this tragedy sent from Texas into triumph.
Unnecessary created chaos.
And what was your reaction?
What can I do? How do I show up to make sure people are okay?
And now a dramatic message directly to the Texas governor.
So he can know the love in what justice really means.
That's only on KCAL News Tuesday night at 11. The search continues for a driver behind 2 hit-and-run crashes in Anaheim, leaving 3 people hurt and 1 woman dead. KCAL's Michelle Geely is working that story for us.
So you can see that this part of Anaheim, Harbor Boulevard and Catella, is busy. We often see tourists from Disneyland in this general area. There are lots of restaurants and hotels, and Disneyland is catty corner from where I'm standing here. Friday night, there was a double traffic accident, a double TC hit and run. And Anaheim police are still on the lookout for that driver. They say that he is in a tan or a gold, either a Corolla or a Toyota Camry. So here is how police are describing this. This intersection right behind me here, there was a family of 3 crossing, and this driver hit the family. Minor to moderate injuries there. Then about a block away, as he was leaving this scene, the hit-and-run driver, according to police, hit a car, then hit a bus, and then ran into a homeless woman who was pushing a stroller with her belongings. She died. She has been identified as 75-year-old Judith Stanford, and we today are going to try to track down people in the area who may know her. We think that she lived for some time at a local motel. So we're going to see if there's anyone at that location that may know something about Judith Stanford. So again, Anaheim police still on the lookout for this hit-and-run driver who really wreaked havoc here behind me in the resort area. This is the Disneyland resort area in Anaheim. Again, we don't have a motive. We don't know whether this was intentional. We don't know whether he was driving under the influence or why it was that he hit these particular people. But another interesting fact that police say, a man who had a guitar swung that guitar at the driver's car to try to get him to stop in between the first traffic collision and the second one. So there were a lot of witnesses to what was going on because, as I said, this is a very popular spot, always tourists here coming and going from Disneyland. So we'll bring you the latest later on KCAL News.
And we'll have much more from Michelle coming up on KCAL News at 4. Meanwhile, America's return to the moon may take much longer than expected. Astrobotic technology now says its spacecraft that blasted off this morning has developed a fuel leak. Flight controllers are struggling to keep solar panels aligned with the sun to recharge the batteries as power dwindles.
And liftoff of the first United Launch Alliance Vulcan rocket, launching a new era in spaceflight to the moon and beyond.
It was a picture-perfect liftoff here from Cape Canaveral with a brand new Vulcan rocket carrying that U.S. lunar lander for the first time in more than 50 years back to the moon. The lander successfully separated from the rocket, but 7 hours into the mission, those problems emerged.
It does not appear they're going to be able to land on the moon. We don't know that for sure yet, but it doesn't appear a moon landing is in the cards. And they're looking at alternate mission scenarios if they have enough fuel to carry them out.
The lander had been scheduled to make a soft landing on the moon on February 23rd. Astrobotic's contact with NASA its contract with NASA for the lunar lander was $108 million. Snow-capped mountains. It's been a cold and breezy day for most of us. Very cold. So what can we expect for the rest of the week? Maybe more cold. KCAL meteorologist Marina Jurica has all the answers on that. Marina.
It has been unseasonably cool. So I'm right there with you, Ross. We are going to continue to see that trend for the entire week. So get those wood-burning fireplaces ready to go and the heaters ready because we'll need them for the stretch. This morning, not even the coldest over the next 24 hours. Our coldest morning will actually be tomorrow. So as we look at some of the lows today, they were quite substantial with Lake Arrowhead at 21, Palmdale 23, Chino Hills 32, Camarillo 35. And these temperatures around freezing are going to be what we see now in Burbank and in Pasadena. And so it'll become a little more widespread to hit that 32-degree mark as we move into the overnight tonight. In Pasadena, over the next 12 hours, we're going to be looking at 58. We couldn't even make it above 60 today, 47 by 8 o'clock. And then we see our coldest temperatures of the day right at sunrise. There's a very cold, dry air mass that's basically planted on top of us, which will only be reinforced by a cold front that's going to come in on Wednesday. Dry, of course, as this dry, cold air sits with us for the next 7 days at least. So looking at Orange County over the next few hours, we'll be at 62. You guys will get a little bit warmer than the inland areas at 3 and then 54 by the time we head into 6 o'clock. So of course we have freeze warnings in effect for a good portion of northern LA County, as well as moving up into portions of Ventura County towards Oxnard, and then the entire Inland Empire. We are going to be seeing temperatures here at freezing or below. So anywhere really mid-20s to low 30s, and that will be all the way through tomorrow morning. Now, our overnights aren't going to be quite as cold for the rest of the week, so we're going to be seeing upper 30s back into the 40s again, but nonetheless pretty chilly. And looking at the extended for the highs today, we'll be seeing warmer temperatures at the beaches in the LA and OC Metro and the valleys, but much cooler as we go into the Inland Empire, the high desert, and of course, the mountains where it remains very windy. And the extended forecast, we have a slight chance coming in right now for some showers over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, but otherwise highs struggling to stay in the 60s with lows in the upper 30s and 40s. So keep those winter coats ready to go. Back to you.
Marina, it is pretty scary when the warm-up is 40 degrees. Stay warm out there. This has been CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown. Thanks for joining us. We will be back live at 3 here on CBS News Los Angeles.